Story no essay fire on mountain case of interdicted Aburi girls headmistress educational governance. In the past few days, the news of the interdiction of the Aburi girls headmistress Mrs. Alice Prempeh-Fojo has led to a sober reflection for leaders. The case brings to life the dilemma leaders are constantly faced with to choose what is best for the institution and their customers or to simply follow orders. The news detailed the fact that the headmistress had to undergo punitive measures for charging illegal fees and asking parents to pay for items provided for by government for free. Although it can be argued that the motivation was to better support the students and teachers, this is debatable. As the woman in charge, the headmistress has been made to take the fall for the corporate agreed decisions. A critical assessment of the case brings out some key lessons for all leaders, especially educational leaders and indeed implementers of flagship public policies such as the free senior high school policy. Now, it goes on to say that the case appears simple on the surface. The PTA agreed to pay extra to motivate teachers and to support other expenditure of the school. It can be argued that the decision was taken with the interests of the students and teachers in mind. There were parents who thought that they could support government effort to improve the quality of services the awards received. On the other hand, some parents clearly felt the tenets of the free SHS policy, which promised a 3-year free secondary education for their students, were being violated. On and on and on. It all has to do with some agreed payment via the PTA. Decided say one more ever school no ama eba no send your more teacher for any students in the warfare no one more etimi ahwe ne ye na ekobia said the headmistress of the school has been interdicted and I say punished. Now the reason why I'm interested in this story has to do with whether as a nation we need to have about the free SHS program and whether the policy or the program requires a review. There have been instances where we have had top government officials suggest that so betimi Tia. Untimin Tia na person will enjoy the free SHS policy so enjoy the free SHS program. They have been suggesting to the effect that there are people we know in our society who are capable of paying their war school fees and even pay more than those in their neighborhoods. Finance Minister Kenneth Furata himself put himself up and said, look, he is able to pay and pay for others as well. But here is the case where the PTO of the school, they come together and decide, say, look, we want to support our school. And so we want to pay this amount of money or these contributions to support our school. And then a punishment is meted out to the headmistress. Though it was not her absolute decision to flout that rule of the free SHS program, here we are, the woman has been interdicted. I'm saying that is it about time we had a conversation about the free SHS program? At least we have seen it run for a whole 3.5 years. We started in September 2017. We have seen it run for a whole 3.5 years. Should we take a look at it again? Where there have been concerns about the release of funds for the free SHS program, which has consistently delayed, where we have had complaints about the food that the children are eating, where even we have to resort to the double track system. Children don't spend a lot of time on campus. Bear 1 month, 2 months, no, bear 2 months, 3 months, no months and go back. And we have had to resort to the process of giving them past questions for them to learn and pass the exams and proceed. But is it really about the quality of education we are giving them, or is it just about writing an examination and just passing? For me, I feel that this particular issue brings us to the point where we need to have a conversation about whether the free SHS program ought to be reviewed or not.
This calling for a review of free SHS policy, it cannot be, you cannot make such calls on the back of the interdiction of a headmistress who clearly flouted directives to solicit or to receive funds from parents who are supposed to be burden free because of the introduction of the free SHS policy.
When is the parents who are
Nabotre. You see, there are processes. Due processes must be followed at all times when it comes to leaders or managers trying to circumvent the tradition or the norm or the stipulated rules. You see, not long ago, and our finance minister Kache said, some 7.5 billion Ghana cedis has been spent over the last 5 years on free SHS policy, which suggests that, look, when it comes to the financing of senior high schools, so Krumhana, government has not backtracked or reneged on its drive to make sure schools are adequately resourced. And so, if we are calling for a review because of financial challenges, that cannot be idea. I will support, and I will be able to support, even in our banker engine too, if it is because of finances. If it is because of double track, the education service, the ministry has told us of plans or more year, we'll get to the point where the double track will be abolished. If it is about learning period and contact hours as students in with teachers, as far as free SHS are concerned, Sammy, the results, latest WASSCE results, has clearly told us we haven't seen a downward trend in terms of performance of the students, but we've seen the students perform well since the inception of free SHS. So we cannot again question the quality of education being given to the children. Sammy, having listed these three main pillars, what is our business reviewing the free SHS policy? And you see, this is a biggest matter. You see, I didn't want to delve into it. But per the documents, per the document, Sammy, look, the reasons for the interdiction, you see, it goes just beyond PTA wanting to support the school. Sammy, there were breaches, clear breaches, as far as school governance are concerned. The headmistress herself knew that, look, those monies that you claim, say, it was coming from the parents and all, no. So, I mean, these were levies that the parents ought not to have even brought to the school or ought not to have even paid. Because these were the things that free SHS never and a bit clear for her. Did she know or did she not know? Did she know or she didn't know? You see, when a lot ever catch us say, ignorantia juris non excusat. Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yo, Patty.
Sammy and Raymond.
All I am taking from the story is that what is the purpose
for collecting the money?
The PTA in the school? Number one. Number two, ye ni Ghana ha and a philanthropist cry etimi see classroom dying Emma school.
It is accepted.
All right. What was the purpose of Sikana PTA no suggested you say they want to pay no? Next can you say a day.
You see, ask.
I want to get
ask
the
where is the
I want to get what the money was supposed to be used for.
Support the teachers and then also the welfare of the students.
Do you know that I know a teacher since occur sa particular secondary school no, by 3 years in textbook back and we use students in Nibio or your photocopy. Cross a muntia for photocopy now. It's a challenge because you say a free SHS.
Yeah, it's free SHS.
Where are the goddamn textbooks? So if me fan say PTA, I can say we are contributing. Teacher, Gina koye photocopies of our book textbook no. Not your students na yebesa ake. No, yebesa ake a headmistress.
Why would the PTA?
It won't be allowed. It won't be allowed. It won't be allowed.
Why even a Adriania or more boarding ebenye die was a challenge?
No.
Are we not in this country? Say because of lack of classrooms, so say at the end you can say infrastructure, and it will say a double track. We are saying the number of students are increasing because of your friend is saying
free SHS.
Free SHS.
Don't look in his direction.
I say it is not so. Not that the numbers have not increased. It is because distribution and there are schools where classrooms are at that There are schools, they have a lot of classrooms at Daho, but still, omoko double track. Teachers are not getting vacation time anymore because nkwala no ko break yenim so oh yeah ko break na ya from someone sign bra. Teachers are suffering. For me, if the money is to support the school, na PTA nankasa and now omo suggestion me na me back school. Our parents not spending even more than the uncovered for school fees as a secondary school.
Illegal money.
Because of free SHS, time now I was to pay for private teachers for Omumbana. Our parents not paying more for hostels. Because Omuma enya boarding house and them. So please,
Manelandi, Raymond,
please,
we didn't interrupt you.
You see, if Fatih is seeking to drill holes into the
if they are not willing to provide
the necessary
resources are here for children to be comfortable in school, and parents are offering. We will accept that. We will accept that.
Right your point.
She's running away from the facts.
What fact? What fact?
If
you hear distribution here, because make I say this holistic approach, it's not helping. We want to do free SHS. Fair enough. For me, I love the idea because and then open to him be my excuses and ask new into my uncle school. I love the idea. A leveler, am I on the same level? We can all have education at least quarter secondary level. I'm out for 3,000, 2,000, 1,500 lower level. Now a university school, public universities, their fees saying private schools, primary, more than even university fees. Into SHS, it's free. You need to pay at the lower level. Come and pay. Don't pay and then go and pay again. Then next saying.
You see, Mami can't say me Raymond and Sana Raymond. You see, Raymond, Mami mau quote be Sana Wakoso. You're talking about how funding has always been available.
Yes.
When we finish, I will give you stories of how the number of times that the release of funds for the running of the free SHS program has delayed consistently. I'll give you that information. But before that, Fatih, listen to this. The issue of free education, I don't think it's something that any of us can compromise on.
Yes.
The tone alone should tell you who is speaking.
President Nana Addo Dankwa.
No, it's not the president. It may be that it may be that they have to, in the way which we are administering it. I can't take my child to Achimota or Dogono secondary school and then leave him or her and drive away and Ken Oforiata not pay anything while I can pay for 10 people. You need to be able to get the data to then be discriminatory in how and who pays and who doesn't pay. This is the finance minister, Ken Oforiata. The man that you say has all the money ready for the financing of the free SHS program. Then I'll reference you the number of times we have had Chas come out to cry. You see, the reason why we are not hearing the stories, and these are... Yes, go ahead.
Remember, even for anything at all,
yes, this is a quote of the finance minister.
Free SHS does not need review. And they cry, still you review to better it. So the review must happen.
Let me deal with the quote, Sammy. You see, Sammy, I don't think you've done justice to that particular epistle.
Okay.
If you decide to go and quote a tiny paragraph, when that paragraph you quoted, it was situated on a premise.
Okay.
So it would have been fair for us to. Premise? Oh, come on. What kind of Oforiata said no? You see, it was premised on assembly.
It was premised on the same conversation we're having.
Sammy has conveniently
premised on this same conversation we're having. As to whether those who are capable of paying for the free SHS program must be made to pay. No, let me land. But the point we are making is this.
You finish. Let me.
The point we are making is this. You see, where we are, it is not once, not twice, not thrice that we have had administrators of these institutions come out to say they are suffering. Just last month, we had an issue where supply of food from what's the name? The Ghana Buffer Stock.
Yes.
Was a concern.
Sammy,
relax. Last 2 months, there was a concern about the release of funds for the senior high schools. I think months before that, there have been similar ones. We ask ourselves, if indeed the government may have all the money to give to them.
Mm-hmm.
But the release of the funds to these schools has always been a challenge.
Sammy.
The man who is in charge of the fund, this is his thinking. The man who is financing the project, this is his thinking. He is thinking that it should be possible for people like Sami Echen, Fatih Shaiboli, and Remo Yamado to pay for their water education. You can't
like
for him pay.
I like the free.
There should be room enough so we met me tria one more ember school. So school fees, one more echo school, secondary school. That room, that leeway must be given to people who desire for their wards to pay.
No.
But here is the case: we have a policy that prevents you from doing so, though there are challenges, though there are problems, though there are weaknesses in the system, and a PTA decides, say, they want to go to the aid of the school, and Wahala don't pay.
Sammy, are you done?
I'm done.
Sammy, you see, this free SHS policy, we can sit here conveniently, not knowing exactly what goes into governing or administration of schools across the country, and government's effort, government's financial commitment, government's the audition free SHS. We may not be privy to, but you see, I mean, you have referenced stories about say there's been shortage of food. The Ghana Education Service, the Ministry of Education, have come out clearly to say that look, those stories are false. I am yet to hear from any headmaster or any headmistress of any senior high school in this country come to tell us, say, indeed, the claims say Adriana sorting in Yamano are true. None of them. Again, these calls are also and as you can buy and as you can buy and as you can and fine as you can, the money hasn't been released. No, so I mean, every senior high school will come. Omuni processes as you can film and send a bedroom. Senior high schools know exactly period, any duration as Sikaneba and what they are supposed to do. Sikaneba, any we're waiting for the other tranche, you know, Obianim, how they are supposed to manage your funds. So I mean, I am yet to hear a single headmaster confidently come and tell us, look, my allocation for this term and this term and buy.
I mean, can't be
so
you see, can't be mal. So and there are countless number of them.
And I'm saying
countless number of them.
Why am I
this CHAS.
Oh, Sammy, come on.
This is CHAS, the administrators of the schools.
Sammy, and I'm saying that. Government has told us, look, in the last 5 years, we have spent close to 7.5 billion.
It doesn't mean that
government. You see, it doesn't mean that government doesn't know. Say, it doesn't mean that government doesn't know. Say, their financial commitment.
We are not talking about
why when
we are saying that
Sammy,
Fatih sits here and says that Sammy, I need my phone now.
Yes.
To check on some information to give to Raymond, and then my phone is lying there, and Kafidi doesn't bring it now. And then when you are doing sports, when the time has lapsed and she doesn't need it, then you bring the phone to Fatih and say, what's the usefulness of the phone?
No, Sammy. You see,
in the administration,
when it comes to the administration
of schools, you know, time is of essence.
Of course, and government makes sure
so when you delay,
make sure so meeting time, no. Look, you see, do you know how the system works?
Look at the story.
Do you know how the system works?
You see, there are countless stories where we have had headmasters and headmistresses virtually beg government to release money.
Let me explain something to you. You see, these processes, government releases the Kase and Fanko senior high schools. Yenina himself, of course, processes back home, you know, how Fatu and Sana could do. But you see, there's always what we call this contingency fund the schools run. Send a beya, whilst you are waiting for.
What contingency fund is that?
Oh, Sammy. Oh, come on.
What contingency fund is that?
Headmaster say, management
what contingency fund is that?
Ask them if
it is one of those measures in Alanda headmaster who say in trouble. There is no contingency fund.
I'm saying that.
There is none.
As far as Sikana the Brahman.
Yes.
Sikana the Brahman. The money is supposed to span a certain period. Okay? Now, in that same Sikana span a certain period, there are reserves,
There is no reserve.
For the release of the next tranche. Oh, Sammy.
I'm telling you that there is no contingency fund.
I am telling
you, the fund that they release for them to run. It's for the
headmasters and headmistresses.
Yes.
Say, sometimes, Sikana ban them.
No.
There's always
it is not the case. You see,
there's
what the
always that
headmasters-
reserve.
No, Raymond,
It's
what
a
the
cushion
headmasters and
before the
headmistresses were
next one
doing
comes.
earlier. There's no reserve. You see,
And I'm
what the
saying that.
headmasters and
I'm saying
headmistresses were doing previously was this, especially within the first batch. When the first batch went, because the previous students who were on campus, were fee-paying students, their fees that they had paid, they used it to support and cushion the free SHS, the first batch.
We don't know that for a fact.
I know that for a fact.
We don't know that for a fact.
I know that for a fact. Before that, even before government releases the funds to the schools, students, what they were paying was what the schools depended on.
Let us go and ask
Until
Charles.
government
Let us
releases.
go and ask Charles. If
And
your
I said
claims
that
are
I can read
correct,
several accounts
let us
for you.
speak to Charles.
This is just this month here. This month
Me,
here.
I don't believe this
On
story.
September 9th. How would you believe?
Me, I don't believe the story. Me, I don't believe the story.
Headmasters in Eastern Region begged President Kufuor to release funds to run schools.
Which
This is just in
which head-
September.
which headmasters?
Yeah, in September.
Which headmasters?
Let me read a story for you. Some
Faceless
headmasters in the
headmasters.
Eastern Region have begged the government to release funds for the free SHS program. They have complained bitterly about the challenges the policy has brought to them since the president launched the policy after winning the 2016. Let me read that one
Faceless
also for you.
headmasters. I mean,
Let me also read
faceless
others for you.
headmasters. This story cannot be credible.
This one says, this is in July. This is in July of 2021. Release funds for free SHS. We are suffering. Headmasters plead. Some heads of senior high schools in the Eastern Region is the same. It's here. Let me read another one also for you. You know, the instances where we have had headmasters and headmistresses come out to say they need
Samuel,
the money
who
to
are
run
they?
their institutions. It's been just several. Now, I'm making the point that a review is not necessarily about funding. A review is also about several other factors. And so when we are speaking about a review, and for me, I stay the course and say that I think it's about time we had a conversation about the free SHS program.
We
For me.
don't have. No, you see, we can have a conversation on how it is going in Myanmar. We can, of course, we can have a conversation. But to say we are going to review because challenges and Sammy, look, even if we go and have that review, government has told us, say, or no, say, there are challenges in certain areas. Or address it. So why should we go and sit down again at a table, drink tea, waste money, say a review bill? It is not lost on government. All these things you are talking about, it is not lost on government. And I'm saying that if it is because of this interdiction of school tea headmistress, until now this conversation has come up again, say the parents want to help Ninyama. You see, it was the same parents who were crying, say the burden on them was too much. Until free SHS had come to alleviate or plight. How then do these same parents again now have the financial muscle to come back and do what they were doing now, almost say a burden to them? No? I'm saying that the school had absolutely no business taking monies from the parents. And Sammy, do you know that not every single parent was able to afford it, but the PTA were putting pressure on parents who couldn't afford to bring. That was where the challenge was, and that defeated the whole free SHS policy. Because why don't you go back to burden the parents again? That is why, if these illegal funds are received or collected by the headmistress, she has to pay. She has to take the fall for it. And then I can.
Well,
free SHS.
we are here. We are here.
Free SHS. Sammy, today. If I tell you that, Sammy, if you can pay. Fatih, if you can pay. Kafidi, you can't pay, so come free. Do you know the level of discrimination or the bar? You will not have a certain level playing field.
Am I the one making that suggestion?
You see,
I'm not making that suggestion.
That is what I'm saying. That was not what. That was not the import of what the minister was saying. That was not the import.
The workers are saying.
That was not the.
It's not
that was not the import of what he was saying.
Well,
tell us
the import.
You've misinterpreted.
Okay,
tell us the import. Tell us the import.
Discrimination as and no opportunity.
Say,
if I can pay for 10 people, and I'm pay, and I'll be back. If you allow that system to fester, then clearly, you are going to create an unlevel playing field for the children. That is what the minister is trying to say.
No, that's not what he's saying.
That's
not what he's saying.
You've just read the piece.
No,
you didn't read the entirety.
I'm coming.
That is the import. That is the import.
I mean, kind of the full story. Oh, see a bar, see the
sports, sports, man, fast.
Yeah, the fast.
And then you got a credit.
And then you got a credit. Very important.
My main kind daily graphic.
Silicone breast, silicone stomach, no. Ever come?
Oh, that's it, Beko. The Beko Honum, because me, I'm interested in going there.
Yes, I'm also interested.
I said the Beko Honum. Yeah, me kind of graphic. This is from Daily Graphic.
Sammy Uncle Sports, bro. Oh no, Sammy. Oh, you can no.
Oh yeah, it's just a minute.
No, can headline. Oh,
no, it's just a minute. No, I was going to read because you are rather now twisting the quote.
No, I'm not twisting
Finance
the quote. I'm
Minister
just saying
Ken
that
Ofori-Atta.
the finance minister.
Daily Graphic says that the minister for finance Ken Ofori-Atta has suggested that persons who can afford to pay for fees for the education of their wards be excluded from the government's free SHS program. Story says government is facing huge challenges in financing its flagship program, the free SHS. However, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta says persons with the means can continue to pay fees for their wards while the government collects data to determine which segments of society benefit from the policy. This is Daily Graphic. So where is the misquoting of Ken Ofori-Atta?
Sammy, is he this story. If I go and read it to Ken Ofori-Atta today, you tell me he didn't say this.
Then
No,
why hasn't he refuted it?
That is what I'm saying.
Why hasn't he refuted it or debunked it all this while?
Come on, Sammy.
Why hasn't he? And this is not a story that when it came, we didn't discuss it.
Which year was that?
This was in 2018.